Hello, John. Today we're going to talk about the importance of spirituality in the human person.
Thank you. Well, one of the phrases that made an impression on me when I was in secondary school and doing English was what Shakespeare said once. He used the phrase, "Conscience doth make cowards of us all." This is a phrase that stuck in my mind because it was something that when you strayed and from the straight and narrow and did matters that you would be ashamed of, that phrase always brought me back to try to live a decent, straightforward type of life. It brought one back from the brink, one might say. That phrase, "Conscience doth make cowards of us all."
Can you explain that phrase, John?
Well, what it means is, and this shows you the sort of spiritual awareness that Shakespeare had. We're all spiritual beings, along with being physical, emotional, psychological, and all the rest of it. We have a very important spiritual aspect to our nature. In other words, our conscience. This is something that once you come to the use of reason or become to know the difference between right and wrong, which funny enough is not emphasised. That's what conscience is. It's an inbuilt mechanism to inform you when you're doing something, or to let you know if you're doing something that's not in harmony with your conscience. Oftentimes it has an effect on you. You're not the person you might be, or the outgoing, jolly sort of person you might be meant to be. You become introverted, and this is particularly applicable, I think, in modern times, with the emphasis on constant enjoyment and individual, you can do what you like. No reference is made to one's conscience and one's sense of right and wrong, and these are being neglected to the detriment of the ordinary young man or young woman on the threshold of life, or trying to find out the meaning of life, because each individual often has that instinct in their nature.
Do you think that materialism has replaced spiritualism?
Well, it certainly has. Look at television, listen to radio, read the print media. It's usually about celebrities of one kind or another that are absolutely what I call people that don't know right from wrong. They're living lives, they're this partner, that partner, this wife, that wife, or what have you. They're a very poor example for people to sort of inquire into the sort of lives they lead. That's one example. When has anyone heard a spiritual type of emphasis on the TV in this country, which is 85% Catholic, in this RTE or TV3? When has one ever heard anything of a spiritual uplift in any of their programs? The emphasis appears to be constantly on sport, to the extent that be there. Nobody is told to be there in the Catholic Church or the other Protestant churches, as the case might be. As a matter of fact, I go so far as to say that the practice of one's religion, and one's Catholic religion particularly, is somehow or other denigrated by the forces in the media, the TV particularly, and that we have in this country of Ireland, the RTE and the TV3 and the print as well. If it wasn't for the Catholic station and Christian station EWTN, founded by the famous Sister Angelico years ago, we wouldn't have any spiritual input whatsoever. Now, it seems to me a dereliction of duty on behalf of these TV stations that are operating in this country, that they don't have a content that reflects the spiritual welfare of the human person, man and woman.
Do you think sport is a new religion?
Well,
or replaces religion, perhaps?
It seems to have replaced religion, replaced it. When one thinks of the unfortunate people in Britain that are fed a diet of football and sport morning, noon and night, in this country there's horse racing 7 days a week, with bookie shops being open 7 days a week in this country and perhaps in Britain. But the funny thing is, in every other European country there's no such thing as a bookie's office. There isn't this emphasis on this constant enjoyment of one kind or another. There's some emphasis in other countries on the spiritual makeup of a human being. For example, on the continent, France, Germany, Spain and all the rest of it, supermarkets, especially the major supermarkets, are obliged to close on a Sunday. Families are entitled to have a day off that they can perhaps practice some spiritual well-being of themselves and their families, and give some indication that there's something other than permanent enjoyment in life. There's a responsibility on these organs of the TV that I just spoke about, a solemn responsibility on them to do their duty and stop trying to lead people astray all the time.
Thank you very much, John.